So Japan's recent elections are making headlines around the world. Here, you can see articles like Japanese Trump fans party succeeds in the elections. So let's discuss in simple terms what happened in the recent Japanese elections and how this will affect Japan's future policies. Well, right now, Japan is governed by a coalition government. The Prime Minister, Shigeru Ishiba, leads the long-ruling Liberal Democratic Party. But things have taken a dramatic turn. Japan's ruling coalition of the LDP and its partner Komeito just lost their majority in both houses of parliament for the first time in 70 years. This could have a huge impact, not just on Japan's internal politics, but also on its foreign policy, economy, its role in the Indo-Pacific, and even the U.S.-Japan relationship. But before we get into all that, let's quickly break down how Japan's election system works. Unlike the U.S., which uses a winner-takes-all system, Japan has a multi-party system. That means voters choose a party, and seats are distributed based on the percentage of votes each party gets. Japan's national legislature is called the National Diet, and it's made up of two houses: the House of Councilors, Upper House, and the House of Representatives, Lower House. Interestingly, in Japan, the Lower House actually holds more power than the Upper House. This 2025 election was for the House of Councilors, the Upper House. There are 248 total members, and elections are held every 3 years, but only half the seats, around 124, are up for grabs each time. This year, due to one vacancy, there were 125 seats contested. Now, before the election, the ruling coalition under Ishiba already had 75 seats. And to hold on to a majority, they needed to win at least 50 of the 125 seats being contested. But they only managed to win 47. That left the coalition with just 122 seats in total, 3 short of the 125 needed for a majority. Meanwhile, two opposition parties made major gains. The Democratic Party for the People jumped from 9 to 22 seats. The Sanseito Party, known for its anti-immigration and anti-foreigner rhetoric, surged from just 2 to 15 seats. So, while the LDP still has influence, they've lost outright control. Now, they'll need to negotiate with opposition parties to get anything passed. Prime Minister Ishiba has said he won't resign for now, but pressure is building within his own party, the LDP, for him to step aside. And there's a reason behind that. If you look at Japan's political history, losing an upper house election has often led to a prime minister stepping down. For example, in 1998, Prime Minister Ryutaro Hashimoto resigned after his party lost its majority in the upper house. Then in 2007, late Shinzo Abe, a hugely influential figure in modern world politics, also stepped down just 1 month after a similar defeat. So yeah, upper house election results are a big deal in Japan. They may not directly decide who becomes prime minister, but politically, they send a strong message. When a ruling party loses the upper house, it's seen as a loss of public trust, and that often triggers leadership changes at the top. This election result could reshape Japan's domestic policy, foreign relations, economic strategy, and its relationship with the U.S. And to be honest, this is bad news for U.S.-Japan ties. One rising star is the Sanseito Party, led by Sohei Kamiya, a right-wing political figure who actually rose to fame through YouTube. Sounds crazy, but his online videos basically catapulted him into the mainstream and are now shaking up Japanese politics. Kamiya is kind of a mix between Putin and President Trump, pushing a hardcore Japan-first agenda. He is strictly against immigration, multicultural tourism, and doesn't want people from other religions visiting Japan. He's even spoken out against Western tourists in general. He wants to reverse Japan's population decline, an issue that's been worsening for years. In Japan, it's becoming rare to even see children because the cost of living is so high that many couples simply don't want to have kids. Kamiya wants to change that. He's also promised to cut taxes and provide subsidies to small businesses. On foreign policy, he wants to make Japan's military stronger, especially in the Indo-Pacific. But here's where things get really concerning for the U.S.-Japan alliance. If Kamiya gains more power, which is definitely possible given the current environment in Japan, he could really damage the relationship between the two countries. his views are wildly out of sync with U.S. interests. For example, he's one of Japan's most outspoken anti-Israel politicians and a strong supporter of Palestine. In 2022, he said he'd never allow Japan to become a Jewish-friendly state. He openly supports Vladimir Putin in the war in Ukraine. His party has even drafted a new Japanese constitution that would give back political powers to the emperor. He's also promoted bizarre conspiracy theories, like claiming American soldiers brought wheat to Japan after World War II not to help, but to secretly make Japanese people sick by messing with their digestion. He's not a fan of U.S. military bases in Japan either. But let's be real, Japan can't defend itself from China alone, at least not yet, so the U.S. presence isn't going anywhere anytime soon. That said, the U.S.-Japan relationship is already facing serious turbulence. If no new trade deal is reached soon, massive 25% tariffs could be slapped on Japanese exports. For a country like Japan, where about $148 billion of its GDP comes straight from exports to the U.S., that would be a huge blow. Technically speaking, with Japan's high cost of living and rising inflation, don't be surprised if the country falls into a technical recession in the next year or two. And if President Trump mood changes, he'll almost certainly demand more protection money from Japan for U.S. military defense, something he's pushed for before. So yeah, the U.S.-Japan alliance is heading into a real test, and it's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out. Let me know what you think about all this. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.